nonsense. There we go. So, here we are. VM Crabling with the Beastmen taking on XMT Gobbo Slayer with the Bretonnians. Round 1 of their best of 3 semifinal. The winner will be moving on to the final to play best of 5 against whoever wins in the other side of the bracket. Now, intro cards off. Thanks, Lord Beretta. Appreciate it, man. We'll figure it out. Casting and casting. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at what our players have brought for us. So, starting with Crabling in blue as the Beastmen. We're going to have Ungor Raiders, 3 of them up front. We're going to have some Ungor Spearmen action. Looks like we're going to have 4 of them in total. Looks like 2 without shield, or no, sorry, 3 with shields and 1 without. And then we're going to have the Destroyers of Drawkwald here. A lot of people ask me if they think it's worth it to bring these guys since they are a bit more expensive. I want to say 600. I think it's absolutely worth it. That poison is quite nice to have. So, also, they are expendable, which I don't know. For me, I just like the expendable trait that they added to the Ungor units in the Beastmen roster quite a lot. Now, other than that, to support this infantry line, we'll have 1, 2, and 3 units of a Razor Gore Herd. He's going to have the Eye of Morslib. Oh, look at that. Speaking of Traderkin. So the Brasham with the Lore of Wild is going to have the Jagged Dagger, Traderkin, and Bestial Surge. We are going to have no other caster, but then we will see Morgor the Shadowgate with both of his summons. We have 1 Cygor here, but is that the only Cygor? No, it isn't. We have the ROR Eye of Morslib as well. And he's looking beautiful, and that rounds out our Beastmen army. Pretty straightforward in its strategy, and we will see how they do. So, Korok's Manripper's holding down that center. So we'll see how they can fare against these Bretonnian forces, and it looks like the Bretonnians are going for numbers. Here as we see 5 peasant mob up front. We're going to have them backed up by 3 spear men-at-arms with a single men-at-arms in the center. Got 2 peasant bowmen with pox arrows in the rear. And then for the cavalry, the noble knights of Bretonnia, we're going to be taking a look here at a significant force. We are going to have Knights of the Realm, 2 of them on the left flank, supporting a Grail Guardian. Very heavy-hitting, tanky melee cavalry. On the Bretonnian right flank, we have Knights of the Realm. We have the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, ROR Knights Errant. And then, behind them, we're going to have another unit of Grail Guardians. Interesting stuff. I'm loving this, and these Grail Guardians, I think, can prove to be very, very useful in the matchup we're going to see. Going to have Fey Enchantress on foot. She's got the Chalice of Potions, Favor of the Fey, Mist of the Lady, Awakening of the Wood, as well as Life Bloom, an Arcane Conduit. And then we have Gotrek, who's going to be naked. We're also going to have a Damsel Beast with the Manticore Summon and a Power Stone, nothing else. Now that does seem to round out the Bretonnian forces, and so far the Cygors having a field day knocking out this Bretonnian cavalry. You can see here 6 models killed off from these Grail Guardians. Oh wow, and I just missed it. That was poor timing on my part. Just killed off another 2 models with a big boulder. These Knights of the Realm also lost 5 models, and these ones have escaped unscathed so far, but it looks like they are getting microed really far back there. So we'll see what they do here. Cygors throwing at the cav on the Beastmen right flank, the Bretonnian left flank. Having no luck so far, these Bretonnians approaching relatively unscathed. Over here, Beastmen infantry going out, charging into the Bretonnian infantry. I'm sure they will have no problem in that combat. Grail Knights looking for an opening, but the peasant mob are now in range, and I really think the Beastmen player needs to make it a priority to deal with Gobbo Slayer's archers out there. Honestly, I would be shooting them with the boulders at this point. Well, actually, no, because now you have Grail Knights and Knights of the Realm and stuff that are in range, but rather than focusing on that cav in the far left, I think knocking these guys out would be more valuable, because at this point, you're going to be amazed at how quickly this Cygor goes down. And right now, I don't see our Beastman player really doing anything about it. Over here, looks like a Manticore summon is coming down. Ungor Spearman Herd not going to be able to hold much longer against the Peasant Mob and the heroes. In comes a Feral Manticore. Looking like it's looking for a place to get into the action, cause some trouble. Over here, Ungor Spearman Herd doing much better in combat. But it does look like the Bretonnians are starting to break through. And now we have a Manticore summon coming in on top of the Ungor Raiders. The Eye of Morslev is continuing to take a nasty amount of damage for no good reason, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, except for a lack of prioritization on top of the archers. But now, as I say that, it does look like our Beastman player is dealing with them. You know, we have the Beret Shaman out here diving in, pushing them back, causing some damage to defenders of the Florida Elite, pushing in to pressure the Beret Shaman out, and the Beret Shaman doing a nice job of just pulling back through the safety of his own lines. Over here, we do have Knights of the Realm on top of the Eye of Morslev, but a Chaos Spawn summon and Morgor have come in to intercept them. And now the Eye of Morslev will be able to move on to fight another day. Over here, oh wow, the Chalice of Potions hitting the Korok's Man Rippers and doing a hell of a lot of damage. But it looks like they may still be able to finish off the Damsel Beast nonetheless. Over here, the other Cygor, the generic one, still very, very healthy. And the balance of power very much in favor of the Beastmen right now. But I definitely think the Bretonnians are not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Right here, we're going to see Grail Guardians dishing out a nice charge on top of the Ungor Raiders. We're going to have Spearmen at Arms coming in to back them up. Ooh, there goes an Awakening of the Wood, doing some nice damage to the Raiders. Gotrek is in combat with the Cygor, and the Cygor is not liking it at all. So he's going to be pulling away from them. Over here, big boulders coming in. Oh, it's not going to hit many of them, but it's going to completely destroy that poor knight. He just took that boulder to the face. Alright, Bretonnians pushing a lot of the Beastman infantry back, routing a lot of units, and if they can keep up the chase, I think they'll be in a very strong position. But on the Beastman side of things, you know, what you're seeing here is you got Morgor very healthy and alive. The Bray Shaman's still doing okay. Gonna need some help here from Morgor to take care of Grail Guardians, I think. But they also still have their Cygors, but it looks like the Eye of Morslev is about to go down, and Eye of Morslev going down is going to hurt the Beastmen a lot, but balance of power is still going further in their favor as we look at the board right now. Ungor Raiders regrouping back here. Razorgore Herd not rampaging, so we'll see where they get sent. Over here, we are going to see the defenders of the Florida Elite diving in for a big charge that I think may swing this combat significantly against the Beastmen. But ooh, look at this, a nice charge coming in from the Razorgore Herd in turn, hitting these heavily armed cab in the rear, but these guys do devastating armor piercing damage. So, oh, and look at that, a rock from the Cygor. The power of a Cygor being on guard mode, throwing off that artillery round and breaking the back of the Bretonnians' will. And now the Fey Enchantress is getting chased down by Morgor, and she's on foot, so to speak. And, you know, this could be the moment the Beastmen find victory. But Bray Shaman and Wild taking a ton of arrow fire, and I just have to emphasize, I feel like the Peasant Bowmen have been really underestimated, perhaps, or just like, you know, not taken seriously enough, because they are getting so much damage down on top of the key units of this Beastman army. You have one Cygor that I think like 80% of its health was taken off by Peasant Bowmen. And now you have the Bray Shaman who's taking a ton of damage from them as well. So we'll see what happens from here, but this game is looking pretty dead even to me at this point, in all honesty, because Gotrek is here, the Fey Enchantress is still alive, the Bray Shaman's about to get shot to death. Yeah, that was a questionable move from our Beastmen here by Crabling. That was an unnecessary sacrifice, and one that I think it could be a game-losing decision there, because that chariot is going to be so useful as this game goes on. Not just in the obvious sense against like the peasant bowmen and the other infantry units, but against Gotrek, against these other things. Like chariot can do good work staggering Gotrek consistently, and then also just knocking out the Fey Enchantress and the Damsel of Beast, perhaps even, because that bone versus infantry is so important. But no use crying over spilt milk. Getting back to this battle and what's happening, we have the Grail Knights diving into Morgor the Shadowgave and going to be knocking him over. The Fey Enchantress feeling confident enough to get in direct combat with him too. And now we have the Cygor coming over, but oh no, a Manticore summon is now on the field, and suddenly the balance of power is going to go much more to the Bretonnian side. But the Fey Enchantress getting in combat this quickly, and now you see that the Cygor is in here causing some terror, but the Manticore is going to go in there and I think deal with Cygor lickety-split. Yep, there he goes, down like a sack of potatoes. The Destroyers or Drakkwald are coming over to support the fights, and these guys being so healthy right now, poison damage, as I mentioned earlier, maybe it is enough to help Morgor survive the Manticore summon and then tank his way to victory, because now that he has a little bit of a meat shield himself to work with, and this meat shield is more than adequate to deal with the units in this Bretonnian formation, as long as they can survive that Manticore summon. Maybe they can do this. Morgor's got to get away from Gotrek, though, and he's got to find a way back on top of the Fey Enchantress and the Damsel, as those are the units he needs to win this. Over here, Terror kicking in, Chalice of Potions going down. Looks like it may do a little bit of friendly fire, but I think... Oh, yeah, going to catch one of the Grail Guardians there. But it's also going to break the resistance from the Beastmen, it looks like, and now it's just Morgor, the Shadowgave, all by himself in this snowy tundra. Yeah, that'd be cool if they added animations like that, Fandangly, for like Gotrek to climb on monsters. Or just Slayers in general, climbing up a giant. Alright, so looking at the post-battle screen here, I mean, a well-thought game to both players. I stand by, I don't want to, beat a dead horse. I think, Crabling's clearly proven himself an excellent player at this point. We've already watched one best of 3 with him after all. But it just seems to me like the game-losing decision there was just like no resources being committed to deal with the peasant bowmen early enough. Because I just can't get away from the Eye of Morsleb. Like, 80% of its health is a lot. Somebody let me know, keep me honest, but I want to say its HP is at least 8,000. Like, I don't know. It's somewhere like within a margin of 200 up or down of 8,000. So, if it loses that much health, point being, then that's just so much value gone. Because really the only thing the Bretonnians had to effectively deal with these two Cygors is the peasant bowmen. Gotrek is tough, don't get me wrong, but these guys are way faster than them. And they have the mass to pull through infantry blobs, whereas Gotrek does not. The archers are really the only thing that I think the Cygors had to worry about. And rightly so, because since they were allowed to just fire unmolested throughout that fight, it's just, yeah, I'm beating a dead horse. I'll stop harping on it, but to me that was really the only thing that led to that being a clear defeat to me. Otherwise, I think if those Bretonnian peasant bowmen were taken out of the match early, it would have been a brawl. But I think the Beastmen could have done it. So, great first game. Let's throw a point up on the board for Gobbo Slayer. And then we're going to go ahead, get to round 2. Let's get to it. VM Crabling with the Empire taking on Gobbo Slayer with the Vampire Coast. It's going to be round 2 of their best of 3 and match point for Gobbo Slayer. The lore of Taco Bell. It's the brown is the color, but it's called Amber Magic, and it's the lore of Beast. I don't know. Yeah, I guess amber is brownish. It is the brown wind, so it's just farts. It's just farts. Oh man, brown wind. All right, anywho, let's get to the battle. All right, here we are, loading in just in time. Oops, army blocker and my face need to be out here. And let's check out what the Empire has brought. And God bless them, I'm in love. I'm in love. So we have 4 spearmen with shields. They're going to be ranked up between 4 and 3 times. Sigmar Sons, the Unbreakable, ROR swordsman. Got 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun, 1 on either flank. Going to have 3 Huntsmen in the back line. Up in the air, you got the Bright Wizard. Now, Fireball, Burning Head, and Flaming Sword of Ruin, along with a Power Stone and Kindle Flame. We're going to have 2 War Wagons with mortars. Brings a tear to my eye. I would actually just be crying completely if there's 3 of them, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm just happy to see mortar wagons. And then we have Volkmar the Grim. Gonna have Grand Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, Grand Hammer of Sigmar, Banishment, and the Jade Griffin riding his lovely chariot. A little bit gaudy, yes, but you know, he's a man of faith. Can't be cheap when it comes to God and Sigmar. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the Coast Army. We're gonna have 2 zombie pirate deckhand mobs. And then we're going to have 2 units of zombie pirate deckhand mob with pole arms. So very minimum infantry. We're going to have 2 handguns. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3 units of bombers. Up in the air, we got 2 deck droppers with handguns. And then for the artillery, because we have a good amount of it, we're going to have a carronade. Make it 2. And then we're going to have a mortar. And make that, let's say, 3, because Big Bertha here, Queen Bess, counts as 2 mortars, no doubt. And on top of that for artillery, we're also going to have Count Noctilus on top of his rotting... Wait, no, just kidding. I wanted to say Gallows Giant, but it's a Necrofex Colossus. He's going to be shooting them cannonballs. He got Captain Roth Moondial, Wraithstorm, Arcane Conduit, Invocation from the Heck, Drowned Dead. And then we're also going to have a gunnery right down here, giving everybody that extra powder. And then he's going to be bringing Enchanted Ballistics as well to give 60 accuracy and 20 reload skill to a unit for 32 seconds. I think you're going to see that on Queen Bess. I like both armies. They're both unconventional, and I'm curious to see how they work. I do think the mortar wagons may be in some trouble, but with their superior mobility and some of the terrain features that they could use to their advantage, I think they can avoid the cannon fire from the carronades and Count Noctilus. Now, I think if the mortars can effectively deal with these bombers and the handguns, I mean, that's a tall order, but if they can deal with these bombers, that'll be a lot of value gained. We will see. It looks like they are targeting them. First is going to be a fire and a miss as the bombs, I believe, dropped back a little bit to avoid that incoming mortar fire. Carronades are opening fire, and Queen Bess going after Sigmar Sons, but Sigmar Sons staying on top of it. And we got ourselves an artillery duel, folks. Huntsman going to fire in at the deck droppers. Deck droppers are going to turn away in quite a hurry. And the Huntsman will just have to be careful as they are discovered. They can be targeted by Queen Bess, and as you can see right there, folks, Queen Bess can leave a bloody mess in its wake. This one going after the Sigmar Sons. Ooh, it could have been much worse, but the Sigmar Sons dodging it there at the last second. Looks like the Knights of the Blazing Sun are getting targeted here. We're going to have the Bright Wizard also taking some damage. Got to be careful there. Deck droppers are coming forward, but the Bright Wizard is going to pull out. Oh wow, look at this. The mortars are getting effectively countered by the War Wagon mortars? What is happening here? I'm confused. Over here, oh no, Knights of the Blazing Sun just going for it, and they're taking it on the chin. The handguns are going to take a charge to the face, but in comes some deckhand mob with polearms to support, and our player is taking the time to kind of bring them around and hit those cav units from the side, and that's going to be a huge loss. 1,200 points off of the table for the Empire player if those guys don't come back at all. And oh, Queen Bess destroying another unit of Empire Spearmen, and this is a matchup where right now just the Queen Bess, the Empire not having an effective counter to it, is really setting a difficult pace and putting a lot of pressure on top of Crabling's build here. And now over here, these Knights of the Blazing Sun also have taken a ton of damage. Got a banishment going down on top of the zombie pirate gunnery mob with the handguns doing a lot of damage. Some of these deck droppers look like they are about to go down. And the Empire isn't out of this yet, Chad. I'll say that. Main reason I'm giving them some credit still is you still have Volkmar the Grim, unbreakable. He's regenning. He can kill all of the infantry here by himself, and there's not really anything that's like a heavy hitter that's going to go on top of him and just kill him, you know? So he has a lot of potential here. You still have the Sigmar Sons and some relatively healthy infantry over there. Here, you have Huntsmen that have very high ammunition, and if they can close the gap and stay alive, then they can shoot down Count Noctilus in quite a hurry with that bonus versus large ammunition. And as long as they aren't firing constantly, they can also remain hidden and avoid a lot of this mortar fire, which has decimated so much of the other Empire state troops. Over here, Spearmen coming in. Going to see this summon. It's timing out soon, but going to be hanging on just long enough to cause a ton of trouble for these Spearmen with shields as they're getting shot in their unshielded right flank, getting knocked out of here in a vicious manner. And the balance of power is just really far against the Empire now. There's guys, the strain on the micro for the Empire right now is unreal. You have to remember, there's so many units across the board here, so many little engagements going on, and you just constantly have to be keeping an eye out for the Queen Bess and where their rounds are going, and when you do, it can be relatively harmless, and if you don't, it just like takes one shot to completely ruin a unit's day. Alright, Burning Head going down on top of the Carronade. Going to do quite a lot of damage there. Not going to kill it off completely or anything like that, but oh no, Bright Wizard got to turn around and run out of there. Taking a lot of damage. Over here, Volkmar the Grim, holy hell, only down to just under 600 HP. Looks like the Carronade's really setting the pace here, Count Noctilus too. And not going to be running out of ammunition anytime in the near future because of that gunnery wipe. Alright, Crabling doing his best to hang on here. Huntsman should be getting close to taking out these deck droppers, but man, they are a slippery unit. I'll give them that. Yeah, this is just getting out of here. This is getting out of hand, and I think the Empire is going to lose it from here. Still wanted to give them a chance to come back here. It's not completely unreasonable, but it's just they're running out of resources quick. if Volkmar the Grim can heal back up and before he gets shot to death, maybe they can get something going here. I mean, especially now that you have this carronade completely offline, the other carronade is completely offline, so it's really just Noctilus with his cannon fire now. And if Volkmar the Grim can get some of these huntsmen in here involved, he has the Sigmar Sons on top of the Queen Bess. Oh, banishment going down. Gonna hit the Queen Bess, but not gonna do too much damage, unfortunately. It was a nice idea, though. And now it's just gonna be Volkmar the Grim by himself. Queen Bess is even going after him. The deck droppers are coming in for some overhead fire. That's going to be a GG. Oh, Queen Bessie, can you do it? Oh. He can duck, dive, dip, dodge, and dive. Or something like that. Oh my god, Volkmar, you monster. He's just going for it. Ain't nothing gonna slow him down. And there she goes. Volkmar the Grim is bit in the dust. And the Sigmar Sons will fight bravely to the last man. This guy's just kind of watching. Oh, you guys done yet? Volkmar is fallen and he can't get up. Still 123 kills. Not too bad. And Volkmar definitely, you know, living up to his name. I mean, honestly, I think it was well played to both players. I just think this build from Gobbo Slayer, it's nicely tuned. It's got pressure from like all angles at all times, and that's a lot of heavy-duty artillery power. I do think this build would be screwed if Crabling had got for more of a rush-focused build, and I would say for that, I would just like to see a bit more numbers here. The mortars got some good work done. So I don't even necessarily think they're a problem, but I do think, like, for instance, the 950 spent here, bringing Empire Knights, more state troops, things like that, I think would work out a bit better in the long run when it comes to the Empire versus the Coast. Just that way, in case you do come up with against a very just skirmish-oriented army, you're not getting outgunned so significantly, because, like, this build had a bit of rush in it because of Volkmar, but just really only 5 units of state troops means this army was more than capable of shooting them down and eliminating them on the approach. And then the huntsmen were just kind of on defense as soon as they started firing, because the Queen Bess was just headhunting. Queen Bessie, you beautiful, beautiful Bess, just viciously effective and effectively vicious. So, yay. Congrats to Gobbo Slayer, getting a 2-0 victory over VM Crabling. A very good player, so no small feat, and he's going to be moving on to the final.